I react to this a lot. That's because I get more information about the planets on how they formed. And even the fifth giant, which is currently right between Saturn and Uranus. So they impacted Earth because of Earth's gravitational pull, and then it formed Luna as we know it today. You see how fifth giant you see how the way that fifth giant got ejected? Yeah, that's because it was the start of the Nice model, which means that Saturn's gravity pulled on fifth giant, and then Jupiter pulled on it as well, and it rapidly got ejected from the solar system. The reason Mars looks like the water is fading, that it's because of the loss of magnetic field. Yeah. Whenever a planet is small, the magnetic field weakens because of its less mass. And you saw how the Earth's oceans turn red. That's because of the iron oxide rust into the ocean. And then comes the Huronian Glacier, the biggest ice age event, which makes the entire planet frozen. And then Venus turns into a toxic planet and hellish landscape as we know it today. Well, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of Venus make it go hotter. And even during the night, the temperature is the same. I know that Pangaea Proxima will break apart in about 400 million years. I read this in another video. And in about 1 billion years, Earth's temperature will reach 45 degrees Celsius, and the equator around the globe will reach the boiling point of water, and causing the entire equator water to evaporate. I got this from another video as well. Necrozoic Eon. The Necrozoic Eon means dead life. Well, Jupiter's gravity will disrupt Mercury's orbit and maybe collide with Venus, or maybe be ejected or collide with Venus. You saw that the Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy collide. That's because Andromeda is heading towards the Milky Way right now, and it takes billions of years for it to collide our own. But billions of years ago, it looked farther away as today. So I see that the sun reached an age of 10 billion years old. In about 5.9 billion years, the sun will become a subgiant star. This adds.
Get a taste of new Lipton Fusions. Real-iced tea, now with a wave of lemonade in strawberry or pineapple.
So subgiant means when a star runs out its nuclear fusion and then expands rapidly. And you see that in 7 billion years the sun will rapidly expand. That's because it turns into a red giant. it reaches the end of its life, it will be over 200 times its current size. And it will swallow Mercury and Venus. Possibly Asymptotic giant branch. Sun enters asymptotic giant branch. Helium fusion now ceases at the sun's core immediately afterwards. The core, made primarily of oxygen and carbon, becomes degenerate. At this point, the sun will expand and cool once again, similar to the way it did when hydrogen fusion ceased. Two shells of nuclear fusion take place. Thermal pulsations of the sun. The last stage of the sun's nuclear burning is brief but complex. As the helium shell begins to run out of fuel, the star expands. Eventually, enough helium falls from the hydrogen shell above to reignite the shell to cause a shell flash. Restabilizing the star. This process occurs in cycles which takes about 100,000 years to complete. Following each flash is dreading event, known as the third dread up. During this time, the sun will lose 1/5 of its initial mass. Wait. I paused it, and it says planetary nebula. But it says that the Earth will be in its fate, but it's uncertain. And it says, similar to Venus, the Earth may be destroyed as if it is pulled into the sun due to the drag. If it survives, it will be nothing more than a charred rock. And then it turns into a white dwarf. Death of the sun. After a period of only 1 million years, the sun has finally exhausted all of its fuel. By now, it has shed virtually all of its outer layers, becoming a planetary nebula. Leaving only a hot core. Nuclear fusion ceases entirely, save for any residual hydrogen left. What is left is a carbon-oxygen white dwarf, about 54% of the sun's initial mass, which will cool down slowly for over billions of years. And I got this from a video. It will show that in 5 trillion years, the sun will completely turn into a black dwarf. So the Draper point means, hold on. Let me check the Draper point temperature. So the Draper point is the approximate temperature above which all solid materials visibly glow. So the Draper point's temperature is about 798 Kelvin, 525 degrees Celsius, or 977 degrees Fahrenheit, and which most solid materials begins to visibly glow due to black body radiation. It was established by John William Draper in 1847. Gas giants lose mass. During the sun's planetary nebula phase, extreme solar wind may strip the outer layers of the gas giants, depending on the exact perimeters. Jupiter could lose 20 to 70% of its mass due to hydrodynamic escape. If it loses its gaseous envelope, what is left is a Chthonian planet. That's all, nothing else. Evolutions of the solar system essentially ends here. Assuming that the sun does not become a part of it, it will cool, eventually become black dwarf. If the planets remain bound to the sun after a quintillion years, they will have collided with the dead sun due to gravitational radiation. Following this, the sun will remain bound to only the merged local group galaxy. The sun itself will likely be ejected into the void following multiple gravitational encounters or fall into the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy. Also, the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy is Sagittarius A star. If the sun survives, it will along with all the remaining objects in the universe will be completely isolated from one another. So right here is the maximum Draper point. I mean, this one is the maximum location of the star map. And then it shows that its average temperature will be 2,380 Kelvin. Its luminosity will be 4 times 10 to the negative 6 of the sun's luminosity. And its radius will be 1.42 Earths. And the mass will be 54% of the sun's mass. But it still says white dwarf. It will maybe become a late white dwarf. And then the timeline will be 24 billion years in the future. And the age of the sun will be 28,543,000,000 years old. In the end, the sun, along with the entire universe, will disappear entirely by proton decay or after several quantum tunneling events, ultimately ending the sun becoming a black hole and decaying via Hawking radiation. After this point, the universe itself is dead. See you in the next reaction video.
Check out